members overcome long distances to conduct free clinic in Ruifang. We'll look at how Jing Si Abode's Dharma Masters achieve self-reliance. Welcome to the Headlines. I'm Sibyl Su. Thank you for joining us. The bi-monthly TIMA Free Clinic Ruifang is a promise made between TIMA members and local residents. Volunteers and TIMA members have never complained about the long distances. Father suffering from a stroke and having a mother who is foreign, the daughter expresses maturity beyond her age. This made visiting nurses quite sad.
She is like my daughter, who is also in elementary school. Though they are in the same grade, she lives a tougher life.
The one visit per 2 months to Ruifang district is led by volunteers and TIMA doctors, hoping to bring warmth to people living in remote regions of Taiwan.
We
feel like for the past few visits, the biggest help isn't the medication but the feeling of love. It's like the patient feels that he's being taken care of.
Carefully asking questions, each patient is being taken care of with sincerity. The act of kindness has inspired a first-time visiting nurse.
Actually, we don't know what care the patients will receive once they are back home. So during the free clinic in Ruifang, inspired me to invite my friends over and invite more people into volunteering.
One by one, more people join to bring care to patients living in remote regions. Let us hope that visiting volunteers can continue their good deeds. During April, Songkran Festival is held in Thailand. But as the pandemic situation got worse, Tzu Chi Free Clinic Center had to stop their regular services. However, they continue to provide medicine to patients suffering from chronic diseases.
During the pandemic, Tzu Chi Thailand chapter ran normally as it provided services to refugees and citizens with low income. After April's Songkran Festival, the pandemic worsened as many free clinics had to stop providing services, but the service to provide medicine to patients suffering from chronic diseases continued.
Because I'm afraid that refugees are out of medicine, so for the past 2 weeks, our medical team has been preparing and sending medicine to people in need.
During the pandemic, it's risky to even go out. Thus, Tzu Chi volunteers and the medical team formed a medicine delivery crew. Following COVID-19 prevention SOP, citizens may receive sufficient supplies of chronic disease medicine.
We will carefully look and see when is the last time the patient received medicine and when is the next time. With this data, we prepared enough supplies so they don't have to come to Tzu Chi for medicine.
The medicine for chronic diseases can be stored in room temperature, but the insulin used by patients suffering from diabetes have to be frozen as volunteers came up with their own way of storage.
We use freeze and use ice cube to store it, and we hope when they receive it, the medicine is kept well.
The Tzu Chi Free Clinic Center decides to continue the medicine delivery service, though the pandemic is getting worse. In the future, more clinics will be set in place to serve people in need.
Some parts of Malaysia continue to implement movement control orders. Before Eid al-Fitr, city volunteers from Penang deliver holiday gifts to care recipients. The movement control order has now been completely lifted. Monthly visits by city volunteers and care recipients can only be conducted online. However, before Eid al-Fitr, the volunteers are still able to send special holiday gifts.
Our distribution this time is 70 households. The village chief led our Zijing team in to give out these goods. We really want to take advantage of Eid al-Fitr to send these materials to them, along with our red envelopes. Although we keep 1 meter distance away, we can still have good interaction with them.
The village that the volunteers visited this time is Taluk Baham. There was a flood in this area many years ago, and Tzu Chi came to provide assistance. Over the years, volunteers still care about the villagers, and the local official thanked the volunteers on behalf of the villagers.
Saya tak pernah melihat isu-isu berbangkit mengenai.
I have never seen any discrimination based on religion. No matter what religion or nationality, one is Tzu Chi Foundation will help. I am very grateful to Tzu Chi Malaysia for helping the families here continue to live a better life.
Keluarga-keluarga di sini untuk terus menjalani hidup dengan lebih baik lah.
Tzu Chi has been constantly helping. It's not only when there is a disaster will they help. Tzu Chi will provide assistance to the disabled every month and provide assistance to people in financial difficulties. If a child wants to learn, but because there's no money, the child can't learn. But Tzu Chi will also use these opportunities to help the child. Thank you, Tzu Chi.
We use our sincerity in helping these villagers and inspire their kindness as we continue to develop this relationship between people.
The love of volunteers continues in this Malaysian village. Even if the pandemic prevents everyone from getting together, there continues to be no distance in their hearts. In Tzu Chi's 55 years, Dharma Masters have followed Master Cheng Yin's lead and become self-sufficient. Another important lesson is the need to overcome adversities. Each one works diligently and even overcome accidents to develop self-reliance.
Every day is the same. The kitchen is busy as usual. This pace is hurried but still refined.
This is a sweet-scented osmanthus. What we want to pick is like this. If this is open, you can pick it. It is fragrant only when it is picked. This makes sweet-scented osmanthus honey. This Taiwanese Mercedes-Benz is good. I can carry a lot.
71-year-old Dharma Master De He recalls that she had the idea of becoming a monk 44 years ago.
At
that time, I thought of Taoyu means life, which was not being in conflict with the world, but reality is there is a gap between idealism and reality. I couldn't use a hoe, I couldn't cook or anything. When I first came, I was afraid of insects, and I'll use a thread to move them away.
We must rely on our own labor to sustain our lives. That's the Master's principle. When I followed the Master here in 1964, we need to be self-reliant to survive. When I came here rely on, there was nothing. From 1964 to 1990s, we have done 21 kinds of jobs. At that time, I dared to say anything to Master. I went to the Master and said, "Master, don't worry, I will make you money."
A day's work for a day's meal. Over the years, 21 handicrafts each had their difficulties.
We work for 18 hours a day, starting at 6 o'clock and ending at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Back then, Dharma Masters were very young. They did go in the mail room with black hair and come out an elder person.
Making the multigram powder, when you crush it, the explosion makes the powder seem to fall from the sky. Your whole face becomes black and it looks like a burn mark. When the master saw it, she was scared and worried about our face being disfigured.
吓死了，你知道吗？哎呀，何叔你怎么这样子？何叔我毁容了，怎么办？
Was soon business as usual. Another job they did was tailoring.
I have been making clothes for more than 40 years. I have been making clothes since I was 10. I started making clothes after graduating from junior high school. To me, it has already entered my 8th layer of unconsciousness.
I am embarrassed to say how long I have studied. I still cannot understand English since I learned it for a decade in middle school.
32-year-old Dharma Master De studied communication in university, though her life is very different now.
At the very beginning, when making this decision, I struggled. In the end, I feel that it would be a pity if this skill set was not passed on by young people. But then people ask me, why don't you just go to the television? But I thought it wouldn't matter because there are already many people at the ITV. And it seems that this area of making clothes is something that no one understands.
We are Dharma practitioners. When we work, we used to refer to it as professionalism in the workplace. But now we talk about work as a sense of mission, which is different as you have to be more grounded and respectful.
So coming here was the equivalent of studying from scratch and becoming a student again. I used to be a teacher, and now I am a student.
Once served as a teacher, Master De Shu now faces another test.
In fact, the master has been looking for a disciple who has a perfect virtue and boundless love. I feel ashamed when hearing these words because I still don't embody those things. I need to cultivate my own virtue, broaden my love, and be more tolerant. I think this is the goal given to me by the master.
True learning can take many forms.
Once I remember that the wheelbarrow was blocked by a big rock. I couldn't push it no matter how hard I pushed. And then just happened to pass by De Tzu, who saw me alone struggling with the wheelbarrow. She is in her 80s and got off her electric bicycle and helped me push the wheelbarrow out of the rut. I was so moved as an elderly person in her 80s come over to help. Shows a great lesson for someone who is elderly. She is simply this by example and feels where there is a need. She did not consider if she had enough physical strength. She just did it.
Hearing the calling of a simple monastic life, Dharma Master De Ge crossed the ocean to come here from Singapore.
I have always felt that I am very blessed in Singapore, but frankly speaking, I thought I should go and do more for others. The practice of being a monk can also benefit the world. The Master has said that you can use the body given to us by our parents to do meaningful things for humanity, which is also practicing great filial piety. I may be physically tired after 15 years in the Jing Si Abode, which is undeniable, but my heart is not tired, it is joyful.
Going into the community, Dharma Masters visit the market. It's Buddha's Enlightenment Day and Laba Kanji is distributed. Besides his vegetable vendor. In front of the meat stall, the scene is quite diverse, but these hands continue to convey warmth to all. Those at the Jing Si Abode have always been self-reliant. Master Zheng Yan has maintained this for 55 years as the spirit of overcoming difficulties has been engraved into the 8th layer of unconsciousness.
Before Mother's Day, Hualien City volunteers visited care recipient Miss Yo. 45-year-old Miss Yo raised 3 mentally challenged children alone. She insisted on going to the construction site to work and declined to apply for Tzu Chi subsidies.
为什么是找妈妈的感觉？
因为我不会讲，因为。
Work in the construction site makes Miss Yao always feel sore all over her body. She is a single parent raising 3 children with mental disabilities. Every day she needs to face the burden of life. May, which is the filial month, always reminds her of her passing mother.
就是想妈妈，对，如果有妈妈，你就不用那么辛苦，对不对？对不对？对。
如果感觉到很无助的话。
If I feel helpless, I would like to meet Tzu Chi's sister, who will then come to chat with me. After that, I will become calmer.
我就会心情就会比较平静一点。
The interaction between the two is like a mother and daughter pair, and also like sister pair. Tzu Chi volunteers would like to help her apply for Tzu Chi care recipients subsidy, but are always declined by her.
Many people are living a harder life than me. We are still able to manage our living. Although it is very hard, as long as Tzu Chi's sisters are here to care for me, it's fine. I'm very content.
In fact, she is very brave. Tzu Chi did not subsidize her financially. Although she has received government subsidy, it is not enough to make ends meet to raise 3 children, so she goes to construction site to work.
Her daughters do recycling at home to subsidize the family.
I would save this money for my mother to buy food and pay for water and electricity bills.
2个人买的，好感动啊，好幸福哦。
In order to be a good mother, Miss Yao has devoted all of her life, working hard bravely to raise her 3 children.
Gaoliao community is located in a remote location in Yuli Township. The majority of the residents there are seniors, and that's why Yuli Tzu Chi Hospital has set up a senior care center.
Under the witness of the public, the Senior Care Center in Gaoliao is open. This is also the 3rd spot Yuli Tzu Chi Hospital has set up to help serve those suffering from dementia in Yuli Township.
You have heard of protecting your bones, heart, and liver, but today it's about maintenance for your brain. When your brain function deteriorates, it will change your physical features. You must look after it. If you receive early intervention treatment, then in your later years you can live a healthy life.
Gaoliao community of Guanyin Borough in Yuli Township is in a remote location where the community is made up of mostly elderly people. Yuli Tzu Chi Hospital's presence in the local community has many of the senior citizens quite excited.
想大家一起讲讲话、聊聊天。
我们这里部落的地方。
In our tribal village, it's mostly elderly living here. We're thankful Tzu Chi has set up a dementia support point here so the elderly can participate.
The entire space is barrier-free, so the elderly do not have any trouble getting around.
We want the seniors to leave their homes and interact with society. This will help to delay the symptoms of dementia. Besides activities for the elderly, we also have a therapist for the family support to help them with their mental health.
Each week on Monday and Friday, the medical staff from Yuli Tzu Chi Hospital will head up physical strengthening exercises, arts and crafts, activities, or even just play some sports games with the elderly to help them decrease the symptoms of dementia and also detect the disease early.
Hong Kong University has built its first educational intelligence ward. It simulates an actual ward. Students may use multiple devices, experiencing what it's like working in a hospital. There's also a VR challenge designed to help users learn how to help a new mother breastfeed her baby and help patients suck out flame. In the ward, the devices allow students to learn before entering the workforce.
这上面呢会有你的名字跟你入住的时间，然后还有你的主治医生跟你的护理师。对，那在这个面板上呢，我们可以看到有一些用药资讯。
This isn't a hospital but a site of teaching. The nursing department in Hong Kong University combines the IoT, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence to make the first educational ward in the country, allowing the nursing students to learn practically. Lying on the bed and wearing VR goggles, the grandma as seen here can experience life outside the hospital while feeling relaxed.
We have this VR device and it allows the grandma to visit places in a simulated world. After wearing the VR goggles, she will actually feel that she is physically there.
The sensors on the grandma's head can detect her physical conditions.
Especially for patients staying in the bed for long term through this system, we may understand his situation better. With our software, we can analyze their sleep quality. Red means that the patient is energetic and with strong focus abilities. Green means the weaker responses the patient makes.
With technology, doctors and nurses get to know patients better. Sensors are installed on the ceiling in order to monitor the patient. Once the patient leaves the bed, the sensors will alert users via a phone app.
Once the alert rings, our nursing staff will immediately know which room and which bed the patient is on, and if the patient falls or not. With the alert, we can prevent patients from falling.
This bed actually has more than that. Like the sensors installed, they can detect the pressure of a human body. Once the pressure remains the same for some time, medical staff will arrive to move the patient around.
Our medical staff can set this, but if a patient's pressure value doesn't change at the same location, this means that the patient might not have moved for the past 10 hours or more. Thus, he might suffer from bed sores.
Actually, the nursing department pays more importance on practical training, which can prevent students from making mistakes in the actual work field. The VR system allows students to work in a simulated hospital and learn proper techniques, for example, assisting new mother in breastfeeding.
With VR, students can learn on their own. In any time and place, whenever they want to practice, they can come in and learn.
If we wear VR goggles and talk to patients, they will actually reply to us, and it feels real. Normally, when we practice in the real world, we talk to models, and we have to imagine what the patients will say.
Building an educational ward, the university combined resources across departments in order to allow students to learn efficiently. The software of the system is also designed by students on campus.
Normally, we hope students will learn in different fields. Therefore, we must provide topics that cross other departments. So on this topic, students may experience different fields and understand what they want to learn.
As technology improves, education quickly catches up as nursing students get a full practice before entering the workforce.
To mark Mother's Day, Buddha Day, and Global Tzu Chi Day, Tzu Philippine chapter has been selling snack boxes for charity purpose. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.